Hey, welcome. I'm Honest Steven, and today I'm going to review the GripCase and Carry Case by Skull & Co. from Kickstarter for the Nintendo Switch. I'm also going to use this time to cover Skull & Co.'s analog stick caps. These are really interesting to me because instead of simply being generic caps to just put another grip on your analog sticks, they come in 3 different styles, and you can combine some of them to make alternatives. It gives you a lot of options on height, width, and overall sensitivity with the Joy-Cons, and I think it's a huge improvement. But we'll get to that last. What we're here for today is this. This is the GripCase by, as you can see, I don't know if you can pick it up, just turn it that way, there you go, Skull & Co. Very, very subtle, very clean approach. Considering their logo is a skull, I wasn't really looking forward to having it just all over the place, but that's a very, very nice way of approaching it. So this was a Kickstarter project that I didn't really hear about right away. I found out about it pretty late, and I did back it. This is my version. It's also available on Amazon. It's a much easier method of you getting the device sent to you that way if you are considering it. But, so, the GripCase. The first concept behind it is that it's a protective case. It's a relatively thin material, which there's a reason for that. I'll explain in a minute. But it feels good. It's got a nice flex. It doesn't feel too flaccid. I imagine it will retain its shape quite well. It's not silicone. It's a, I don't know the exact type of plastic it is, but it's a much more resilient, forgiving plastic that feels good in the hands. It's very high quality. And it comes with 2 variations on the back pieces here, which I'll put the other one on to show. Pop on and off real easy. And as you can see, this is the standard grip. It's flush, much more low profile, sleeker. And then you have the trigger grip, which is more bulbous and it has the lip here for your secondary finger to rest on. They're marketing it as this is for more casual play, for smaller hands, and this is for more hardcore games with bigger hands. I don't really agree with that. I just think it's more size preference. Like, I feel both have benefits, but I do find myself using the trigger grip more often. So, it's super easy to put on. Literally just start with the shoulders, and then it's in. So, very good, straightforward, super easy to take off. Give it a twist at the bottom, and your Switch comes out. Now, if you're like me, and you happen to have a Nintendo Switch dock that does work with this, the main reason the material is so thin is because they designed this dock, this grip case, to not only make the Switch more comfortable to play in handheld, but to be able to dock it without needing to remove the case. I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt now. I should have brought my dock to show it off. So standard dock, but as a lot of people have noticed over the year that the Switch has been around, this front panel on the dock can be warped. It is not because of the Switch's heat or anything like that. It's just it's a thin piece of plastic with a lot of weight on it during manufacture and shipping, so it tends to warp. And mine is ever so slightly bent inward. So when I'm docking it, I do have a slight bit of resistance, but not much. It goes in and out pretty well. I also have a glass screen protector on my Switch, and that doesn't seem to give it much problem. But my one friend has a more properly tuned dock, so it's a little bit looser. But as you can see, Docks no problem. The one issue I have run into with that is it's kind of a little more iffy to align it, and you can't just drop it in. You have to seat it. The first couple days that I used this, I did have trouble with it seating properly, where it would not display out to the TV or it would not charge. But I guess a couple of days of just letting it do its thing, and it's worn into it a lot easier, and it docks much more conveniently now. So big plus to the idea of the case is that you don't ever have to take it off. It makes it real convenient. The other downside, though, to keeping the case on as you do that, is it blocks the USB ports. Here, I'll turn it. The smaller grips alleviate it a little bit. You could probably make the bottom one work, but the top one's going to be blocked completely. But if you have this grip over here, it completely covers the USB ports. So you're not going to be able to use the GripCase and the external USB ports, which I do kind of feel like is a knock against the case, but I don't really know how you would remedy that. It feels like one of those problems where, how else would you fix it, you know? So I don't really knock the company too much. But the other side of it too is, I feel that the main people that this case is aimed at is people that play a lot in handheld mode. So people that would play a lot in the dock would probably have a Pro controller, probably have charging comfort grip for the Joy-Cons and stuff like that. So inherently, for most people, I feel that using this, you probably won't find yourself using the USB ports much anyway, so it probably won't cause you an issue. I personally haven't had a big deal because I don't really need to use the USB ports much. But here's the really interesting thing about it, is I think this case perfects the Switch. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but I honestly don't know what you could do without adding obscene amounts of bulk to perfect the comfort. So I take it for at its face value. It has redefined the Switch for me. One of the biggest selling points for the Switch, oh no, I can't use my kickstand. One of the biggest selling points for the Switch to me up front was that I could play it wherever. Like, I'm obviously big on playing in front of the TVs and stuff like that, but if I have to take care of my children, or if my wife is busy on the TVs or whatever, I can just take the Switch out and keep playing, and I don't miss a beat. Or if we're on a trip or whatever, and to kill time in the drive. But the Switch without anything just did not help me at all in that regard. I never found myself using it. Using the Switch in handheld mode through its normal style is fine for short bursts, but there's literally nothing to wrap your fingers around. You can cradle the whole Switch in your hands like this, which I see some people do. You can Vita it like this, and it's okay, but it just doesn't. It doesn't feel good, and you don't want to do it much. But also, I've had 3 different sets of Joy-Con now, where one was because I dropped it. The second one, I believe, was something my son did, and the third one just did it on its own. But these are supposed to lock in, as you can see. But this one pops right off. So there will be times where I will be playing, and I'll pop this off, and it literally desyncs the controller. So that's a common occurrence. And then you have the Switch's very notorious kickstand for not staying in. So there's a lot of hiccups that make this not great. Works fine docked on a TV though. I play it all the time on TV. But then I got this case after after a lot of research on the different types of cases that are available for the Switch. And I have been playing my Switch in handheld mode almost exclusively. Like I said, very easy to install. It protects all the buttons. You have these flaps here to cover the triggers, these bumpers here to cover the bumpers, power, volume, but everything else is accessible. Charging ports, exhaust vents, headphone jack, card port, nothing's blocked. So, feels very good in the hands. You have plenty of space to wrap your hands around. Triggers work fine. The bumpers feel a little bit more resistant than they should be initially, but I've noticed that as I've used them, this gives more. So they feel better now than they did a week ago. And the company themselves have done a great job alleviating a lot of these things. A lot of this stuff was manufacturing issues or oversights or whatever, and they kept updating things. But also, they're like, if you have a specific problem, like these bumpers or the power button not working right, they tell you, take an X-Acto knife and nip it in this exact spot and it should fix it. So they did everything they could to make it a perfect product for their customers, and I commend them for that. So I've been playing a whole lot of it handheld. And that redeemed the Switch for me very nicely. Hasn't affected heat or anything like that. It's very thin, low profile, it's sleek. It's not going to be perfect for everybody, obviously. Everyone's hands are different. Everyone has a specific grip that's different. But I don't think you could find a better designed product specifically for protecting your Switch from drops and for making it more comfortable to play long term. And as I stated in the beginning, the simple fact that they even considered allowing you to dock it means it's foolproof. It covers all the bases. It gives you all the issues you might have come up, a solution to them. It's great. And I think you can technically get the GripCase on its own now, but initially you couldn't. You had to specifically order the bundle I have that comes with the carry case. I gotta take all my stuff out of it. So, very, very much a standard looking case. Has the nice company's logos on these tassels here. The neon blue and red, all of the colors that they offer as options for the grips themselves and the tabs on things, they match almost perfectly to the official Nintendo products, which is a great touch. Makes it feel very high quality. Has this great thick cushioned mesh pouch up at the top, carries a lot. It's a good inch thick. I can fit a 3DS in there in all kind of games. Yeah, like you would expect. Elastic bands for cartridge slots. It comes with this nice in-between flap that covers your Switch's screen. Nothing can get to it. That's great. Nice and secure. Got these deep wells for the actual grips to settle into. And then beneath that you have another substantial amount of storage space. You put those in there, you put those in there, you put those in there, and it doesn't really impede anything at all. See? So, very, very nicely sized case. I feel like most people will have everything they need out of the case. It's really good high quality. A lot of the materials you would expect it is, but I feel like it can go the extra distance. And all of the branding is very subtle, very understated, which is good because I don't really care too much to have a bunch of branding all over my stuff. The one feature of this case that they did push a lot, though, was they wanted you to use it as a stand. And, I mean, it technically does do that. The diagram they give is kind of iffy, but that's generally the idea. Is you put it into the sawtooth, and there you go. And then you fold this over, and you prop it as a back for support. And like the idea for that is great, except the execution's not. These are very slippery. Doesn't take a lot of movement for the switch to kind of bump out of them down a notch. The idea of using this as a back support is nice, but it doesn't do as much as you think it would. And my biggest thing is you get it set up and everything, you prop it up, but then like it makes the case top heavy. So unless you have this full of storage stuff, you end up sitting at a really, really steep angle, which right here is okay, but anything beyond that just feels redundant. And the other side of that too, though, is unless you brought another set of Joy-Con, you have to remove the case and then remove the Joy-Con. And I thought maybe, okay, they're expecting you to just put the switch back, but no, it doesn't really sit there. So they want you to put it back in here, and it kind of does, but nothing's really stopping it from going side to side. See, it's like, so it just feels like an afterthought in the sense of, oh, we have this space, we need something to support the actual switch off the bottom of the case, so let's make it a stand. Everyone hates the kickstand. So that's the one criticism I have universally about the case, is that feature, it's marketed, like they push that feature, and it's half-baked. But it's very soft liner, very sturdy shell. Can take a good blow, you know, and with all the cushion and everything like that, I feel like you don't have to worry about your switch being damaged. And like I said, other than the little flare here, it's very subtle, very subdued, very easy to carry that in public and not feel like you're carrying a bunch of video games that someone should steal or whatever. So, great case, very, very well thought out. The GripCase itself, awesome. Like I said, very premium matte finish, very resilient, nice clean edges. I've noticed that on the actual face of the case is this edge, sharp edge from the molding process. I thought it would give me problems, especially down here and up here, but it doesn't. It's a soft material, so even the sharp edge kind of doesn't irritate you in any way whatsoever. Definitely, they clearly put a lot of thought into what material they were using for this. So, A+. As for the analog caps, they don't include them with the case now. I feel like they should in the future. That'd probably be a good idea for selling it straight out. But they're not expensive. I think they're $7 if you bought them on their own now through Amazon. And again, just like with the grips, they have all the colors of the Joy-Con covered: the yellow, the neon pink and blue, the Mario red, the Splatoon green and pink. So you have all the bases taken. And these are also not silicone. I don't know what this material is. I feel like it's probably similar to this, but it's just softer enough to give it a flex. But it feels really good. It's got a nice proper grip texture. And so you get these two standard size caps that essentially just cover the sticks. But you also get, I don't know if you can see that really, this like sandwich layered two thick cover, and then a big bulky cover. And the big bulky cover has a concave top as opposed to a convex top, which I really like. So it feels really good on the thumb, and it moves around a lot nicely. But one of the main gimmicks is you can take this tall, small disc and the short, big disc, and they actually seat on one another. It's kind of hard to do without the stick under it, but I make it work. And it makes another option, a tall, bulky stick. Now, one of the big reasons I thought there'd be a benefit of having caps for my Switch, these ones specifically, because these are the only ones that I saw that gave the solution, was when playing a competitive shooter, such as, there we go, such as Splatoon, the Joy-Cons analog sticks are very short. They are very short, and you have to crank the sensitivity up really high, and their range of movement is lacking. So it gets finicky, and it's kind of self-punishing to do that way. But as you can see, I went with the double layer cap here for my aiming, and I originally had the bigger cap on it. I was like, get as much height as I can, but when that was on it, I couldn't cleanly hit these buttons, and they do note that at the company site that this would not be the best option for the right. But that on the right, and then just the big stick on the left here, and I think I got a beautiful combination. Like, I had a much bigger cap, much more control of my general movement, and the taller rounded cap makes it much easier to get precision without having to crank the sensitivity to an uncontrollable level. Great quality, super easy to put on, stays on like a dream, very easy to clean, and they have, like, for the people that have never really used analog cap extenders or whatever you want to call them, like that, it does make a mechanical, physical difference. I used to play docked more than anything, and I went out and I bought a Pro Controller specifically with the intention of playing more precise, fast-paced stuff like Splatoon without suffering a penalty. Now I play handheld most of the time, and this pretty much put me on par to my Pro Controller. It's not exactly the same, obviously. And in the same vein, this will not replace a Pro Controller to play at home. Like, if you prefer the Pro Controller, you're not going to prefer this. Pro Controller is very well designed in its ergonomics. It's a very meaty controller. It's very clearly thought out in regards to its precision and everything in it, the battery life and such. So, essentially, my final verdict on it is, if you want to play your Switch a lot in handheld, and you just don't care for the Joy-Cons feel, or you're concerned about the safety of your Switch, or anything like that, I don't think this can be topped. It perfected the Switch, took all of the physical flaws away from it that I originally had for it, and I play it more now. But if you tend to play more docked, more at home with a Pro Controller in your hand, maybe pass on this. Give it a consideration at least, because it might also redeem the Switch's handheld use in your eyes like it did with mine. But this and this together, I think, are averaging $50 now on Amazon. These are a little less than 10, so not a big deal if it's something you're looking for. But obviously, that's the price of another set of controllers, so if you really aren't sure if this is going to be for you, because you already sit at the TV, or you are fine with the Joy-Cons or whatever, then I don't think any case will really work out in your situation. But yeah, I think that covers about everything I could hope to cover with it. I'll put a link to the Amazon listing, a link to their website, and the information below. If you've already purchased and used the GripCase, leave a comment letting me know what you thought of it. There's been a few negative responses in the review section to the Amazon listing, but I don't agree with any of the things I've seen. I don't agree at all. But your mileage may vary, of course. And obviously, it's been quite a while since I've uploaded a video. Apologize about that. I had some personal issues, which I won't go into here. And speaking of which, I apologize very much for the quality of this video. I'm using my phone. I was all ready to go to record on my camera with my external mic and everything, and I couldn't find my power cable, and I didn't have a backup battery. So I was kind of out of luck, and I had already put this review off way longer than I intended to. So I kind of jerry-rigged my phone into a clamp, and so the audio quality is going to be crap. The picture quality is decent. I mean, it's a Pixel 2, so it has a really good camera, but it is still a phone camera. So if you got to this point, thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for sticking that out. But yeah, so if you want to keep up to date with my videos, which I'm doing my best to get back into, subscribe to my channel, watch my old gameplay videos. I'm going to be working on getting more reviews out than gameplay videos, because that was the point of my channel, was to review things. So I felt like I really wanted to jump on getting this reviewed, getting these products all reviewed. So thanks for watching. I'm going to continue doing my best to bring you one of the most honest opinions you can find online, and I hope to talk to you guys later. See ya.